College life was supposed to be exciting, a fresh start, new friends, and the chance to finally chase my dreams in art and design. Instead, I'd managed to show up a full day early, exhausted, and hauling my suitcases through the dark campus at 4 in the morning. By the time I reached my assigned dorm room, I was running on fumes and cold coffee. The room itself was nothing special. Dull off-white walls chipped at the corners, scratched floors, and a single tiny window that barely let in any sunlight. But after I decorated my side, it felt a little less depressing. Sage green sheets on the bed, fairy lights strung above it casting a soft golden glow. A few framed pictures on the cupboard next to my books and my sketch pad resting on the desk, ready for late-night doodles. I stepped back and admired my work. Not bad, I hadn't even tripped over anything or knocked over my coffee progress. The other side of the room was completely bare, just a plain mattress and a lonely cupboard. I wondered what my new roommate would be like. The thought of sharing such a small space with a stranger made my stomach twist. What if we didn't get along? What if she stared at me while I slept? I glanced at the clock. Classes started at 9. I walked over to the mirror I'd hung earlier, cold coffee still in hand. Taking a sip, I fixed my hair. Olive green top, muted beige shorts, cinched with a brown leather belt, matching beige headband, worn brown leather school bag and scuffed boots. Chestnut brown waves falling past my shoulders. Brown was obviously my favorite color. I stared at my reflection, hazel eyes, warm but restless, framed by dark lashes, soft tan skin with a small mole just above my cheekbone, and faint freckles across my nose. I applied a muted pink lipstick, pressed my lips together, and checked the effect. Subtle. Just enough. When I picked up the coffee cup again, it was already empty. Crap. Time was running out. I grabbed my bag, hand on the doorknob, and stepped out, only to crash straight into something solid. Or rather, someone. The impact sent me stumbling backward, my shoulder slamming into the doorframe. My heart lurched as I looked up. Dark eyes, black as night, cold, unreadable. Everything clicked at once, and a slow, sinking dread filled my stomach. The empty bed, the bare cupboard. The way he towered over me, expression unreadable, like he'd already decided I was a problem. I was utterly and completely screwed. Classes dragged on forever, but the second one was bearable, mostly because Mr. James looked like a male model. I made sure not to stare too long. On my way back to the dorm, my heart kept stuttering. That guy from this morning, the one with the sharp edges and intense gaze, kept flashing in my mind. Mr. James was nothing compared to him. Then a horrible thought hit me. What if he wasn't her brother? What if he was her boyfriend? The guilt seeped in deep. The thoughts I'd had when I first saw him were definitely not innocent. Please let him be her brother. Even then, he was probably taken. Either way, I was going straight to hell. I swallowed hard and pushed the image of his tall frame, messy dark hair, high cheekbones, and veined forearms out of my head. The tattoos peeking from his sleeve, that faint scar under his left eyebrow. Dana, stop. By the time I reached the door, my heart was beating faster than usual. What if he was still inside? I took a deep breath, turned the handle, and stepped in. The room wasn't empty. He was sitting on the edge of the bare mattress, legs spread wide, phone and cigarette pack tossed carelessly beside him. The fairy lights on my side glowed softly, but his side looked like a storm had hit boxes everywhere. No sheets, pure chaos. He looked up. Our eyes met. I froze. It was him. I shrugged off my jacket and hung it up, then reached up and untied my hair. Chestnut waves tumbled down, catching the warm glow of the fairy lights. Taking a deep breath, I turned to him, trying to sound cheerful despite the panic bubbling inside me. Hi, I'm Dana. I'm the other roommate. Who are you? He stared at me for a long moment, then dragged a hand down his face and exhaled sharply. I thought Dana was a guy, he muttered. My expression shifted. The landlord said my roommate was Alex, and that you were a girl. He barked out a laugh. He lied. Congrats, princess. You got scammed. I tried to stay calm, but I could feel the panic flickering across my face. He stood up slowly, stepping closer. I backed up until my back hit the wall. He towered over me, reached out, and twirled a loose strand of my hair between his fingers. If this bothers you so much, he leaned in, voice low. Leave. My breath stuttered. My cheeks flushed deep red. But instead of running, I forced a nervous little laugh. "Who said it bothers me? It's just a little warm in here." He smirked and blew out another slow drag of smoke, letting it curl toward my face. My nose wrinkled. I sniffled. Then I coughed. At first, it was small. Then harder, I bent forward slightly, wheezing, fingers fumbling in my bag for my inhaler. The guilt I thought I saw flicker across his face only made everything more confusing. He froze, cigarette still burning between his fingers, watching me struggle as I stubbornly tried to unpack like nothing was wrong. What the hell had I just gotten myself into? This wasn't the fresh start I imagined, and as his dark eyes stayed locked on me, something told me this was only the beginning.